The engagement ring rested on Olivia's desk. For a long moment, neither of us reached for it. The afternoon sun poured through the glass walls of her office, making everything look bright and perfect. Outside, employees walked past with coffee cups and laptops, laughing about things that suddenly felt very far away. Inside, my future had just stopped breathing. You should take it. Her voice sounded calm. Too calm. I stared at the silver ring. Just 3 nights earlier, she had slipped it on her finger with a smile I thought would stay forever. What happened? She folded her hands together. This relationship is over. I waited. Surely there was more. A fight. A mistake. Something I could fix. Instead, she simply looked toward the city skyline beyond the glass. I'm serious. My laugh came out weak. You're ending 4 years together with 5 words. Her jaw tightened. This is the right decision. For who? She didn't answer. The silence between us felt heavier than any argument. I stepped closer to her desk. If I messed up, tell me. Nothing. I can change. Still nothing. Her fingers slowly wrapped around the apartment key in front of her. Then she slid it across the desk. Metal scraped softly against polished wood before stopping inches from my hand. I've already moved my things. Those words hurt more than shouting ever could. You packed everything? A tiny nod. When? Last weekend. While I had been shopping for furniture because I thought we were finally moving into a bigger apartment together. The picture flashed through my mind. Her smiling while choosing curtains. Laughing because I couldn't tell navy blue from dark gray. Holding my hand across the parking lot. Had all of it been fake? I don't understand. You don't have to. I do. The words escaped before I could stop them. I deserve that much. Her eyes finally met mine. For just a second. Behind that cold expression, something cracked. Pain. Fear. Maybe regret. Then it disappeared. This conversation is finished. No. My hands landed on the edge of the desk. No, you don't get to decide that. A few employees glanced through the glass walls before quickly looking away. Olivia noticed them too. She straightened her blazer, becoming the powerful CO everyone admired. Professional, controlled, untouchable. This is my office. It stopped being just your office when you broke my heart inside it. A muscle twitched near her jaw. I won't repeat myself. Then explain it once. Nothing. Not even one reason. Not one sentence. Just walls. Invisible walls I couldn't climb. I picked up the engagement ring. It felt strangely warm. Almost alive. You promised forever. Her breathing grew uneven. So did you. The answer confused me. What does that mean? Again, silence. I searched her face for clues. Was there someone else? Had I missed signs? Had I worked too much? Forgotten something important? Every possibility rushed through my mind, and every one of them blamed me. I'm trying here. I know. Those 2 words carried more sadness than everything else she'd said. I just can't do this anymore. Why? Her lips parted. For one hopeful second, I believed the truth was finally coming. Instead, I'm sorry. That was it. Sorry. For years reduced to one empty apology. I slipped the ring into her hand. It belongs to you. She looked down at it. Slowly, almost painfully, she placed it back on the desk between us. I don't want it. Neither of us touched it again. My phone buzzed. A reminder. Dinner reservation. Tonight. Our anniversary. I laughed once. A broken sound that didn't even resemble laughter anymore. I spent all morning planning tonight. She closed her eyes, only for a heartbeat. When they opened again, they were cold once more. You should go. I waited. One last chance. One last reason. One last miracle. She never gave me one. My legs carried me toward the door before my heart agreed. The glass door closed behind me with a quiet click. That tiny sound ended the happiest part of my life. The apartment felt empty, even though most of my furniture was still there. Her bookshelf, gone. Her clothes, gone. The mug she always used for morning coffee, gone. Only clean spaces remained, like she had erased herself with careful hands. I opened the closet. One side stood completely empty. My fingers brushed the bare hangers. A week ago, I hadn't noticed anything. She had packed while I was at work, smiled while hiding goodbye inside cardboard boxes. That realization hurt more than anger. It meant she had already left long before I walked into her office. Days became weeks. Every morning started the same way. One message. Can we talk? Unread. Another. Please tell me what happened. Unread. I'm not angry. I just need the truth. Unread. Her profile picture disappeared. A few days later, every social media account blocked me. Friends knew nothing. Coworkers only shrugged. Olivia has been busy. Busy. That word became another locked door. I replayed every memory, every vacation, every late night conversation, every promise. Somewhere inside those memories, I searched for the moment everything broke. I never found it. Instead, I kept finding moments where she smiled at me, held my hand, talked about children someday. Those memories became impossible to understand. One rainy evening, I walked past the restaurant where we had celebrated my birthday. Our favorite table stood empty near the window. I almost went inside. Instead, I kept walking. The city suddenly felt too full of ghosts. 3 months later, my phone suggested I clean old contacts. Her name appeared near the top. Olivia Redhart. I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered over her name. Delete contact? The question felt cruel. If I pressed yes, it would become real. No more waiting. No more hoping. No more checking unread messages that would never change. A slow breath escaped me. You already left. The words sounded strange inside my apartment. My thumb touched the screen. Delete. Her name disappeared. The space where it had been looked painfully blank. I placed the phone face down and closed my eyes. Our story was finally over. At least, that's what I believed. I had no idea that somewhere across the city, a little boy was beginning to smile exactly the way I did in childhood. Years later, that same smile would stop me in my tracks and change everything I thought I knew about the woman I had loved. A little boy ran straight into me. The force nearly knocked the coffee out of my hand, but he caught the paper cup with both tiny hands before it could fall. Got it. His proud grin spread across his face like he had just saved the world. I couldn't help smiling. Nice catch. My mom says I run too fast. I think she might be right. He laughed. Something about that laugh made me stop breathing for a second. It sounded familiar, not because I had heard it before, but because it reminded me of home, of childhood, of something buried deep inside me. Behind him, hundreds of people filled the charity technology event. Bright banners carried the Bennett Technologies logo across the convention hall. 5 years. 5 years had passed since I walked out of Olivia's office. I had promised myself I would never step inside one of her company's buildings again. Life had different plans. My software company had been invited to demonstrate an educational program for children. Business. Nothing personal. That was what I kept telling myself. The little boy tugged gently on my sleeve. Mister, yeah. Can you help me? He held up a small robot kit. I can't make its eyes light up. I crouched beside him. Let's see. Within seconds, I noticed one wire had slipped loose. There, the tiny robot blinked blue. The boy gasped. You fixed it. I only connected one wire. You make it look easy. His excitement was impossible to ignore. Children usually needed time before trusting strangers. This boy acted like we had known each other forever. My name's Noah. I'm Ethan. He repeated my name quietly. Ethan, almost as if he wanted to remember it. Then something strange happened. Without thinking, he slipped his small hand into mine while pulling me toward another display. Come see this. The simple gesture froze me. It felt natural, comfortable, almost familiar. A sharp voice cut across the room. No, the boy stopped walking. My heartbeat skipped. I already knew that voice. Slowly I turned. Olivia stood only a few steps away. Her business suit looked as perfect as ever, but her face didn't. Every bit of color disappeared the moment she saw Noah holding my hand. For several long seconds, nobody moved. Noah looked between us. You know my mom? Olivia reached us quickly. Her movements were controlled, but her hands trembled as she pulled Noah closer. We're leaving. But Mom, now. Noah frowned. We were fixing robots. I know. You didn't even say hello. Those innocent words landed harder than any accusation. Olivia finally faced me. The same eyes that once held my whole future now carried something I couldn't understand. Fear. Real fear. Enjoy the event. Her voice sounded thin. Before I could answer, she turned away. Noah twisted around while she guided him through the crowd. He waved. Bye, Ethan. I raised my hand automatically. Bye. Neither of them looked back again. Except Olivia did. Just once. Only for a heartbeat. Then she disappeared into the crowd. The rest of the event became a blur. My presentation ended. People shook my hand. Business cards changed hands. I couldn't remember any of it. One question kept repeating inside my head. How old was Noah? Near the refreshment tables, two employees chatted while organizing gift bags. That kid is growing so fast. I know. He turns 5 next week. 5. My mind immediately counted backward. 5 years. Exactly 5 years since Olivia ended our relationship. A cold feeling settled inside me. No, it couldn't be. Thousands of children were 5 years old. That meant nothing. It had to mean nothing. Still, I couldn't stop thinking. The laugh, the smile, the way he trusted me, the strange pull I felt the moment he grabbed my hand. I drove home with questions that refused to stay quiet. A week later, another business meeting brought me back to Bennett Technologies. This time, I avoided every hallway connected to Olivia's office. The meeting finished early. While leaving, a colorful drawing taped to a waiting room wall caught my attention. A child's picture, stick figures, a bright yellow sun, large blue letters at the bottom. Mommy and me, one adult, one child, a wide empty space beside them. The blank space looked intentional, as though someone belonged there but never arrived. I stood there longer than I should have. Beautiful, isn't it? I turned. An older woman wearing an employee badge smiled politely. Our daycare displays the children's artwork every month. It's nice. That one is Noah's favorite. My eyes returned to the drawing. Noah. Again. That evening I searched public records. Nothing unusual appeared. Olivia had never married. No father listed anywhere online. Every search ended with another wall. Days later, my phone rang. Grace Morgan. We had met years earlier during a software licensing case. Now she worked as a family attorney. I remembered something strange. What is it? Didn't you once date Olivia Bennett? Years ago. A pause. I'm handling paperwork connected to the Bennett family. My pulse quickened. There are sealed records that don't make sense. What kind of records? I probably shouldn't even mention them. Grace. Another pause. Hospital documents. Every muscle in my body tightened. They were heavily restricted. So, the admission forms list emergency contact information that was later replaced. Replaced? Someone went back and changed the records. My voice barely came out. Whose records? I can't legally tell you. But I can tell you one thing. Her tone became careful. The original emergency contact had your phone number. Everything around me seemed to disappear. My apartment, the city outside, the ticking clock. Only those words remained. Your phone number. That night, I barely slept. Morning arrived with more questions than answers. I opened an old storage box. Inside were photographs from the years Olivia and I spent together. One picture stopped me. A vacation at the beach. I wore shorts. My left calf showed clearly. A small birthmark. Oval-shaped. Dark brown. Completely ordinary. Except, Noah had the same mark. I remembered seeing it when his pant leg lifted while he knelt beside the robot display. At the time, I hadn't thought anything about it. Now, my hand started shaking. Coincidences existed. But how many could fit into one child? The age, the birthday, the laugh, the smile, the trust, the birthmark. My phone buzzed again. Grace, I found one more thing. I'm listening. The hospital admission happened 3 days after you and Olivia disappeared from public view. What are you trying to tell me? I don't know yet. She let out a slow breath. But if I were you, another pause. I'd stop asking whether this is a coincidence. That evening, I unlocked my apartment door and noticed a large envelope lying on the floor just inside. No return address. Only my name. Across the front, stamped in bold red letters. Confidential DNA report. Before I could pick it up, loud knocking echoed through the apartment. I opened the door. Olivia stood there, breathing hard as if she had run all the way upstairs. Her eyes dropped to the envelope, then back to me. Please. Her voice broke for the first time in years. Don't open it. Olivia stood outside my apartment door, her eyes fixed on the DNA envelope in my hand. Please don't open it. The panic in her voice was real. 5 years ago, she had hidden every emotion behind a wall of ice. Tonight that wall was cracking. My fingers traced the edge of the envelope. Tell me one good reason. She opened her mouth, but no words came. Only shaky breaths. I can explain. Then explain. Not like this. I stepped aside without inviting her in. If you can't tell me the truth now, I'm opening it. Her shoulders dropped. I've been afraid of this moment every day. I've been living inside it. Neither of us moved. The envelope felt heavier than paper should. I tore it open. The report slid into my hand. My eyes landed on one sentence. Probability of paternity, 99.99%. The room disappeared around me. Every doubt, every question, every sleepless night. Gone. Only one truth remained. Noah was my son. My knees nearly gave out. 5 birthdays. 5 first steps. 5 years of bedtime stories. 5 years that belonged to me. Taken without my knowledge. I lowered the paper. He's my son. Olivia closed her eyes. A tear slipped down her face before she brushed it away. Yes. One simple word. One word that shattered everything left inside me. You let me believe I meant nothing to you. I never stopped loving you. Don't. The anger in my voice surprised even me. Don't use love to explain this. She stood frozen. I missed his first smile. No answer. I wasn't there when he learned to walk. Her hands trembled. I didn't hear his first word. She covered her face. I didn't even know he existed. The apartment felt too small for all the pain filling it. I walked toward the window. City lights blurred behind tears I refused to let fall. What? A long silence followed. My mother. I turned slowly. What about your mother? She found out before I could tell you. Victoria. Even hearing her name after all these years left a bitter taste. Olivia wrapped her arms around herself. The company was collapsing. I remembered those months. Stock prices falling. News reporters waiting outside headquarters. Employees worried about losing their jobs. My mother believed a public pregnancy would destroy investor confidence. I stared at her. So she erased me? She wanted me to. And you agreed. I thought it would only be temporary. She laughed softly, but there was no happiness in it. 1 month became 3. Her voice grew weaker. 3 became a year. And after that, I couldn't find the courage. Every answer hurt more than the last. You watched me suffer. I watched you leave. You made me leave. I know. I blamed myself. I know. I thought I wasn't enough. I know. Those words sounded like knives. She had known all along. Every lonely birthday. Every unanswered message. Every night, I wondered what I had done wrong. She knew. I'm sorry. I shook my head. That sentence is 5 years too late. She didn't argue. Maybe because she knew I was right. The next morning, I drove to a quiet park. Olivia waited beside the playground. Noah chased pigeons across the grass, laughing as they flew away. He turned when he noticed me. Ethan. His smile reached me before he did. You came back. I promised I would. I knew it. He grabbed my hand as naturally as before. Mom said you wanted to spend time with me. I glanced toward Olivia. She stood several steps away, giving us space, watching with eyes full of regret. Noah pointed toward the swings. Race you. He took off before I could answer. For the next hour, we laughed, built a sandcastle, played tag, talked about superheroes. Every happy moment carried hidden sadness. I couldn't stop thinking about the years we had already lost. When he grew tired, we sat beneath a tree. He leaned against my shoulder without hesitation. My friends have dads. I swallowed hard. Yeah. Mom always says mine is far away. His small fingers played with the grass. Were you far away? The question broke something inside me. I didn't know where you were. He frowned. You didn't? No. A thoughtful silence followed. Then he smiled. You found me now. Children had a way of making impossible things sound simple. I smiled back, even though my heart still ached. I did. Later that afternoon, Olivia unlocked a small drawer inside her house. I've hidden these long enough. She handed me an old photo album. Tiny baby pictures filled every page. Noah wrapped in blankets. His first bath. His first birthday. His first steps. Every photograph carried a date. Every date reminded me where I had been instead. Working, living, wondering why the woman I loved had vanished. I turned another page. My hand stopped. A newborn Noah slept while holding one of my old college t-shirts. "You kept this?" She nodded. "He slept better with it." A painful smile crossed my face. He didn't even know it belonged to me. "No." Her voice barely rose above a whisper. "But I did." I closed the album carefully. "I can't get those years back." "I know. You stole them." "I know." Again, she accepted every word. No excuses. No arguments. Only guilt. Grace called that evening. "I found something important." "What is it?" "Company records." I listened carefully. Several legal documents were altered. By who? The signatures point toward Victoria. Grace paused. "There are also financial records showing she controlled personal decisions using company money." "What kind of decisions?" "Private security, medical expenses, legal settlements." My stomach tightened. She planned everything. It looks that way. A week later, Noah's school invited parents to sign permission forms for a science museum trip. The teacher smiled kindly. "Parent or guardian?" I stared at the paper. For years, someone else had signed every line meant for a father. The pen felt strangely heavy. Then I wrote my name. Ethan Carter. Father. The ink dried almost instantly. My heart took longer. Noah beamed. "Now everybody knows." I placed the form back on the desk. "So do I." That night, a packed suitcase waited beside my apartment door. Not because I was running away, because I was ready. If becoming Noah's father meant fighting every lie built over the last 5 years, I would fight. Whether Olivia remained in my life or not no longer mattered. My son did. The next morning, every television in the city carried the same shocking interview. Victoria Bennett faced the cameras with perfect confidence. "Ethan Carter abandoned my daughter during her most difficult time. He chose his career over his family." My phone began ringing before the interview even ended. The battle for my name and for my son had finally begun. The morning after Victoria's interview, my phone would not stop ringing. Friends I hadn't spoken to in years wanted answers. Business partners wanted to know if the story was true. News reporters waited outside my office. One lie had spread farther in a few hours than the truth had in 5 years. I almost let anger take over. Then Noah's smiling face crossed my mind. He deserved a father who stayed calm when life became ugly. Not another adult making decisions through fear. I turned off my phone and called Grace instead. "I'm ready." "So am I." Her voice carried a quiet confidence. "The documents are stronger than I expected." Grace spread several folders across a conference table. Every page told part of the same story. Hospital records with changed signatures. Legal forms with missing dates. Financial transfers approved without proper authorization. She slid one document toward me. "This signature belongs to Victoria." Another followed. "So does this one." I read each page slowly. Every forged line pushed one truth closer to the surface. She controlled everything. Grace nodded, even decisions that had nothing to do with the company. My hands rested on the table. So Olivia really believed she had no choice. She had a choice. Grace didn't soften the truth. But someone spent years convincing her that fear was the safest answer. A formal investigation began within days. Board members demanded explanations. Lawyers requested records. Auditors searched through years of financial reports. The Bennett empire no longer looked untouchable. It looked frightened. Olivia called late that evening. I heard Grace file the documents. She did. "I'm not trying to stop it." That surprised me. "You could." "I won't." Her voice sounded tired. "I'm done protecting lies." I stood by my apartment window. Rain clouds gathered above the city. "This isn't revenge." "I know. It's about Noah." "I know. And it's about the years that were stolen." A long breath reached the phone. "I know that too." There was no argument left between us. Only consequences. The next weekend belonged to Noah. We spent the morning building a model rocket in my garage. He carefully placed each sticker while sticking out his tongue in concentration. "Do dads always know how to build things?" I laughed. "Not even close. You fixed my robot." I also burned pancakes yesterday. His eyes grew wide. Really? They turned black. He burst into laughter. You should let me cook. Deal. His smile came so easily now. It warmed parts of me that had stayed cold for years. When the rocket finally stood complete, he hugged me without warning. I'm glad I found you. My arms wrapped around him gently. I'm glad too. Across the driveway, Olivia watched from her car. She had arrived early for pickup, but never interrupted us. She simply watched, not with jealousy, with quiet regret. She wasn't mourning the love we once shared. She was mourning the family we could have been. A few days later, Daniel requested a meeting. For years I had believed he replaced me. He had always been beside Olivia at company events, always standing close enough to fuel rumors. He entered the cafe, carrying only a folder. No hard feelings if you walk away. I'm listening. He pushed the folder across the table. I should have spoken years ago. Inside were emails, old calendar entries, meeting notes. Every page painted the same picture. Olivia had canceled dinners, missed vacations, skipped holidays, not because of another man, because she buried herself in work after pushing me away. Daniel folded his hands. She never loved me. I stayed silent. I tried convincing her to tell you the truth. You knew. Not at first. He stared into his untouched coffee. When I found out, it was already too late. You could have called me. I wanted to. So why didn't you? He gave a sad smile. I kept believing tomorrow would be the right day. That sentence sounded painfully familiar. Tomorrow. The word that had stolen 5 years. Daniel stood. I don't expect forgiveness. I wasn't looking for another enemy. He nodded once before leaving. The cafe suddenly felt lighter. Not because my past had changed, because another lie had finally disappeared. The board meeting made headlines across the city. Several executives voted against Olivia remaining CEO while the investigation continued. Television cameras caught her walking into headquarters. Hours later, they caught her walking out again. No security team, no assistants, no reporters calling her Madam CO. Only one woman carrying a single cardboard box. Inside rested years of awards. A few office plants, family photographs. One frame caught my attention during the evening news. She paused outside the building, looked at the picture, then quietly removed it from a frame. The photograph had shown her and Noah. The empty space beside them, once left blank, remained there. She folded the picture carefully and placed it inside the box. The frame went into a nearby trash bin. Watching that small moment hurt more than seeing her lose the company. She finally understood what truly mattered. A family court hearing followed. Nothing dramatic happened. No shouting. No angry speeches. Just paperwork. Pens. Quiet voices. The judge reviewed every document. Olivia signed first. Then the papers reached me. My name waited beside the word father. I signed slowly. Each letter carried responsibility instead of revenge. The judge smiled kindly. Joint custody is now official. Noah reached for both our hands outside the courtroom. His fingers fit between ours. For a few peaceful seconds, the three of us walked together. Then he noticed an ice cream truck. Chocolate. He pulled me toward it. Olivia stopped walking. I'll catch up. She remained standing outside the courthouse, watching us disappear around the corner. Not because she had been left behind, because she knew no one needed moments with me that no one could replace. Life settled into a new rhythm. School pickups, homework, weekend soccer games, bedtime stories over video calls. The missing years could never return, but new memories kept arriving, little by little, day by day. At the same time, Olivia's world kept shrinking. Her executive office sat empty. The nameplate had already been removed. Employees whispered as they walked past the closed door. The woman who once controlled every meeting no longer had a desk to return to. Meanwhile, my own company signed its biggest contract. My employees celebrated with pizza boxes and loud music. Someone handed me a glass of soda. You earned this. For once, I believed it. Not because my career had grown, because I no longer measure my worth through Olivia's opinion. The man who begged outside a glass office years ago no longer existed. That night, heavy rain crashed against my windows. Lightning flashed across the sky. A slow knock echoed through my apartment. I opened the door. Olivia stood outside, completely soaked. Water dripped from her coat onto the floor. She didn't try to step inside. She simply opened her hand. Resting on her palm was the same engagement ring she had left on her office desk 5 years earlier. She lifted her eyes to meet mine. This time, she wasn't asking for another chance. She was asking me to decide what our final goodbye would look like. The engagement ring rested in Olivia's open hand. Rain fell behind her in heavy sheets, soaking her hair and coat. 5 years earlier, she had placed that same ring on a desk between us. Tonight, she offered it back without a single promise attached to it. I don't expect you to wear it. Her voice was almost lost beneath the storm. I only wanted to return what I never had the right to keep. I stepped aside. You'll get sick standing out there. She entered quietly. Neither of us hurried to speak. The apartment felt different now. It no longer carried the weight of waiting. Only the calm that comes after surviving something you once believed would destroy you. Olivia placed the ring on the kitchen table. I've spent years trying to find the right words. I leaned against the counter. And there aren't any. Her tired smile lasted only a moment. I kept thinking one perfect explanation would erase everything. It can't. I know. She lowered her eyes. Fear became more important than love. The sentence hung between us. My mother convinced me that losing you was the price of protecting everyone else. She slowly shook her head. I believed her. And every year after that, I chose silence because admitting the truth became harder. She rubbed her hands together. I wasn't protecting you anymore. Her voice cracked. I was protecting myself from facing what I had done. There were no excuses left. No one else to blame. Only honesty. For the first time in years, I believed every word she spoke. Not because it changed the past, because she had finally stopped hiding from it. I forgive you. Her head lifted quickly. Hope flashed across her face. Then I continued. But forgiveness isn't the same as going back. The hope faded, replaced by quiet understanding. I know. We can't rebuild the years Noah lost. We can't. We can't pretend none of this happened. I wouldn't ask you to. She reached for the ring, then stopped halfway. Noah deserves two parents who tell him the truth. He does. And he deserves a father who never doubts how much he's loved. I'll make sure of that. A gentle smile crossed her face. I know you will. A month later, every hidden lie became public. The investigation ended. Financial records, forged documents, changed hospital forms, private payments. Every piece fit together. Victoria could no longer control the story. She stood before cameras that once celebrated her success. Now they waited for answers. I did what I believed was necessary. The reporters didn't move. One question came from the crowd. Do you regret separating a father from his son? Victoria looked away. For once, she had no perfect response. The law handled the rest. She faced charges connected to fraud and document forgery. Her reputation collapsed long before the courtroom reached its decision. Power had protected her for years. Truth ended it. Olivia resigned from the company a few days later. No dramatic speech. No farewell celebration. She simply cleared the last few things from her office. When she returned her company badge, the receptionist quietly thanked her. That was all. The woman who had once controlled an empire walked away, carrying one small box. This time she wasn't running from consequences. She was accepting them. Life became wonderfully ordinary. Every Wednesday belonged to Noah and me. Homework spread across the dining table. Video games filled rainy afternoons. Weekend soccer matches ended with ice cream, no matter who won. One evening, he climbed onto the couch beside me with a serious expression. Dad, the word still caught me by surprise. Yeah, buddy. Are you mad at Mom forever? Children always found the hardest questions. I thought carefully before answering. No, you aren't. I was hurt. He nodded slowly. But being hurt forever would only hurt me too. He rested his head against my shoulder. So we're still a family? I smiled. We'll always be your family. His eyes brightened. Even if you don't live together? Even then. He accepted that answer much faster than most adults ever could. Good. He reached for the TV remote. Can we watch the dinosaur movie now? I laughed. I thought you'd never ask. Months passed. Olivia slowly built a quieter life. She volunteered at local charities, Spent more afternoons with Noah. Stopped chasing titles and board meetings. Sometimes we shared coffee while Noah played nearby. The conversation stayed simple. School, soccer, books. There was kindness between us again. Not romance. Not the future we once imagined. Just respect. Oddly enough, that honesty made every meeting easier. One afternoon, Noah handed me a drawing. 3 stick figures stood beneath a bright blue sky. One figure held my hand. The other held Olivia's. He pointed proudly. That's us. I noticed something different. Nobody stood alone. Nobody was missing. I smiled. It's perfect. It took me a long time. His words carried more meaning than he realized. That evening, I opened the top shelf of my closet. A small wooden memory box waited inside. I lifted the lid. Old movie tickets. Vacation photos. A dried flower from our first date. Then I placed the engagement ring inside. Not with anger. Not with regret. With gratitude. That ring reminded me of the man I used to be. The man who believed love meant holding on no matter the cost. Closing the lid didn't erase those memories. It simply gave them a place where they no longer control my future. Spring arrived. Noah and I planned our first father and son camping trip. He packed enough snacks for 10 people. You never know. I smiled while loading the car. You might be right. Before sunrise, we reached a quiet lake surrounded by tall trees. The world felt peaceful. No meetings. No lawyers. No reporters. Only birds welcoming the morning. We stood on the wooden dock together. The first sunlight spread across the water in soft gold. Noah slipped his hand into mine. It's beautiful. It really is. He looked up at me. I'm glad you're my dad. Every painful year suddenly felt smaller. Not gone. Just no longer stronger than this moment. I'm glad you're my son. When we returned home, I unpacked our bags. One last thing remained. A framed photograph from our trip. Noah grinning beside the lake. My arm around his shoulder. Real happiness. Not borrowed. Not imagined. I carried the frame to the living room wall. A single nail waited there. The picture settled into place with a quiet click. I stepped back. 5 years earlier, I had stood in an empty apartment wondering why I wasn't enough. Now I stood inside a home filled with laughter, trust, and a son who knew exactly where his father was. Olivia's regret had been real. Her apology had been sincere. But the greatest victory was never watching her realize what she lost. The greatest victory was discovering that my peace no longer depended on her regret. I had lost years. I had survived betrayal. I had found my son. And in the end, the life I chose became far more valuable than the one I once begged to keep.